Hey, this is Mike, and today I'm reviewing Fateforge, the Chronicles of Kaan, and disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this one. Fateforge is a dungeon crawler-ish adventure game for 1 to 4 players where you each control a different character, and in a dice-based system you take actions and use special abilities to fight in very quick-paced battles. They only take 10 to 15 minutes where you're each moving around and fighting these different tokens and trying to accomplish objectives. And the setup for battles and the narrative you're following throughout the campaign is all controlled in an app that's available for Apple and Android devices. So let's discuss 5 key things to know about Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan. So for my number 5 point, I'm focusing on the app itself, and this is going to be a pro for my taste, although if you don't like apps, I don't think this one will change your mind. It presents the main story of the campaign in a nice way. It has really well done in-game music. Well, I will say really well done mostly. The combat music is kind of ridiculous and hilarious, so usually we turn it off after a little while. And it's got illustrations to depict what's going on. It keeps track of most things like your accomplishments and story beats and that kind of stuff, although I will say it doesn't track like all your equipment and skills, so you do have to keep track of some things physically. But overall, it's a solid app implementation. Doesn't bother me at all. Although, like I said, if you hate apps, this isn't going to change your mind. Next to number 4 is the leveling and character progression through the campaign. And this is a mix for my taste. You start out with just a few skills to give you extra things to do with your dice, but as you go deeper into the campaign, you can get up to 6 skills, you can get a whole bunch of items and weapons that give you even more cool combos and options and different ways to build your character out. That's all awesome, but the part that takes this into a mix is not really about the character leveling, but is about other things that progress through the campaign, and that is when you take a ton of damage, spend a ton of energy, you have to use your resources, the same money that you're saving up to upgrade with, to heal yourself. And additionally, if things go really badly or if you take too long in missions, you can take these corruption cards that can have ongoing negative effects and are very expensive to get rid of. But yeah, if you have a bad team, if you're making bad tactical decisions, if a lot of battles don't go your way, things can kind of compound and make it very tough. Not to the point where you have to quit, but you might not do that well in the continuing campaign. And that leads into my number 3, which is focused on the campaign and is a full-on pro. I love the story in this game. It is punchy and impactful. You know what the stakes are, and you have very tough choices to make at certain points, and this does branching stories really well, where your choices keep coming up and being mentioned and being impactful to the rest of the story. And this game also does the best version of fail forward I've seen since Arkham Horror, maybe even better, where the game really brings up your failures and they have an impact on what happens next and how the next scenario plays out in a realistic way, but it still gives you a chance to make things right and to find a good ending anyway. It's great. My number 2 is also a full pro with some caveats, and that's the dice-based action system and the combos you can get with skill cards and items. So generally you're rolling 4 dice, although as you level up and get access to more dice, you can pick which ones you want to use and kind of change what you're likely to roll. And you can spend energy to re-roll. If you get a bunch of the same symbol, you can freely change them. So there's some inherent mitigation. Now the caveat is if you just roll a lot of misses and then you spend energy to re-roll them, and hey, you just happen, even though it's only 1/6 of the sides, if you just happen to roll a lot of misses again, that's not fun. But I will say that very quickly in the campaign, as you level up, you get ways to turn even misses into useful results. And then as you get more skills, and you can use them to change this symbol into that symbol, and then double this symbol, and then use that symbol to do that awesome thing, and then use that symbol to do that great thing. It really becomes a fun dice-based puzzle if you like this kind of thing. I like dice activation in crawlerish games and adventure games, and I think it is a blast. And finally, my number 1, also a full pro, a big one, is the scenario variety and the enemies within the scenarios. So the combat scenarios, you have to watch the playthrough to see this, are very quick, 10 to 15 minutes sometimes, and they're just on these sets of tiles with different enemies, but they manage to fit in tons of variety in the types of scenarios, protection scenarios, exploration scenarios. There's surprises around every turn, the boss battles are super epic, and something else I love is how tactical the reactions and actions of the enemies are, because you can see at a glance what they're going to do at different distances. So trying to work out how to approach the enemies and how to try to avoid damage, which as I've said is very tough to heal, is quite a tactical puzzle and really engaging and challenging at all player counts. Combined with the various scenarios, I just adore it. So overall, if you want a great adventure game with really fun, quick dice-based combat, with an awesome story, with just a lot to recommend, it has become quickly one of my favorite games of the year. Check out Fateforge. But on the other hand, if you don't like app integration in games, if you don't like dice luck and dice activation systems, this might not be for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.